course there's going to be an issue. Hello, and welcome to Millionaires Are Made, the show where you can learn little bits of information and simple tips in order to help you on your journey to being a millionaire. Today, we are going over how to improve your intellectual health with creativity. So if you are having a writer's block or stumped on something, hopefully a couple tips today will push you through. If you're new to Millionaires Are Made, this is our TV show. We bring on 3 guests from 3 completely different backgrounds, and we give super simple tips on how to improve your life in various aspects of health. Hopefully you learn a little something, and the best part about having 4 people is if you hate my tip, hopefully you like someone else's, and you can go talk to them directly and learn more about it. So let's talk about creativity. When you're not feeling creative, what do? Give up? Hopefully not. My favorite thing to do is you're going to have to involve others. So if you want to get creative, it can't just be you. There's too many people in this world. There's too many thoughts that happen all the time. You're going to have to get your team together and brainstorm. Even if it's just your friend, your mom, your dad, whatever, give them a call, pitch your idea, and I bet you that they have good feedback. Feedback from others is the number one way I would recommend. It's simple and easy to improve your creativity. That being said, if you think you're creative enough to come be on our show, please sign up at our website, www.millionairesaremade.com. Comment, like, whatever you want. We are here and available for you. We love having more guests. We love having sponsors. We love having viewers, all that stuff. But the whole show is made for all of you guys. We really just put out as much information and tips and knowledge as possible so everyone can learn and grow just a little bit. On that note, we are going to bring out our first guest. This might be the first episode ever that we only have 2 guests. We have one of our guests that's having problems with their Wi-Fi, and so hopefully he pops back in, but if not, we're going to keep going just like always. So, big welcome to Stefan. How you doing, Stefan?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on. Man, I'm excited about today.
Ooh, I like that. I like a little enthusiasm. All right. Well, let's go ahead and start it off with a quick question, Stefan. Who are you?
I am Stefan Glazer. I am a published photographer, published author, professional pug dad, and podcast host.
Awesome. Well, we're going to have to get some people on your podcast then. All right. Well, let's just go into it. If I were to improve my intellectual health with creativity, what simple tip would you give me?
Yeah. Everything creative doesn't need to be monetized.
Oh, all right. Let's talk a little more about that then. Tell us more about how you can be creative without just doing it for the money.
Yeah, and that's the big key right there is everyone thinks that you have to do it for the money. But the key to good intellectual health and just growth as a person is being able to express creativity without having to worry about making money from it. And the key to that is when you start doing it out of just the love of creativity, you end up making money from it.
Okay. All right. Do it for the love of creativity and then make money. So worry about the money second. Do the creativity, get your stuff done. All right. Well, give us some tips. What do we do that's creative?
So, like I said, I'm a photographer, and it comes back to like I used to force myself to do jobs I didn't want to do as a photographer, being a commercial photographer and working with people. And then
you sound just like my father.
So I ended up taking a step back and going, well, what if I just do what I want to do? And I work with pets. I did pet photography. It was how I got published. But then I started expressing myself through creative means with night photography, long exposure photography, with no intent on selling or doing anything, just putting my passion and love of creating into that form of photography. And when I started doing that, I realized the photography started getting better. I was enamored with it. And then the most important part is people started buying my prints in the photography that I was creating. I wasn't trying to do it. I was saying, hey, here are the photos that I'm doing. And people kind of went like right into it. They really did. They were like, "Oh, this is great. Like, where can I buy this?" I'm like, "Oh, no, no, no. I'm not trying to sell it." But that's what happens because you stop focusing on trying to make money on that creative outlet, and you just focus on being creative. It changes worlds.
That is very, very accurate. Very accurate. You kind of touched on this, but I'm going to ask you this anyways directly. What happened on your life journey that you learned this piece of advice?
Yeah, that I think the big switch for me last year is doing all the photography that drove me crazy. I didn't like working with groups of people. I didn't like events. I hated weddings. I hated working with real estate agents and all these other big things. And what I found that I did love working with and love doing is promoting people that I was aligned with. So there was a lot of people in like the metaphysical community that I worked with, and working with pets, and just going out and photographing things I wanted to photograph with. And once I started putting that out there, that this is what I'm doing now, and people were like, "Well, how are you going to make money?" I was like, "People are going to pay me. I'm not worried about that." So I just literally went down that path of creating and doing, and that's when everything started turning around. I regained a real passion for photography again, and I really enjoyed what I was doing. So it was a game changer for me to go from years of losing interest and love for photography to finding that spark again and really being enamored with my craft.
Very cool. Okay, so were you nervous when you kind of made this switch? Was there a point where you were like, I like taking pictures of pets. I'm going to do it. I'm not currently making money on it. I've got a lot of fucking faith in it. What happened during that transition?
Yeah, so for me, what was strange is I was a bit worried. Yeah, I mean, because everyone goes, "Well, you're a photographer. How are you not going to be a photographer?" Basically, that's what like the big question was. And I said, "I'm always going to be a photographer, but now stepping away from the idea of being someone that's actively seeking clients and looking for this, and focusing on what I love about photography, is more important than trying to make money on photography." And once I looked at it that way, I kind of I put myself at ease, because I was worried that like, well, what does this mean? Does this mean I'm not a photographer anymore? I'm like, no, I'm always going to be one. And it let me, it basically untethered me and let me go and let me into this creative space and figure out new things and how to work with other people and like get the clients that I want without having to go get the clients I want because of how I was working.
That is awesome. Okay, so nowadays you're only doing, what are you doing now? Just pictures of pets?
Yeah, I basically now I've really just I work with pets, mostly pugs because I'm a pug dad.
Mostly pugs. There's enough money in this world to have that niche of a market.
Yeah, I mean, my pugs have a huge following on Instagram, where I do a lot of work with a lot of brands, but I also just love photographing them. Besides doing the video content that they require on Instagram, uh, but I do that, and then I do my nighttime and long exposure photography, and because those are the things I'm really called to. When I have my friends that are in the metaphysical community, the healers, the light workers, all those people, they'll reach out to me when they go, "Hey, I need new photos done," and we work that way because I don't seek them. I just do what I love doing. But so when they seek me, it's because we need to get together and work. That's just how that works. And it always works fantastically. But outside of those, those small niches of photography, I don't go outside of it anymore because I know that I've honed it down to my niches. It's where I want to be. Uh, I've tried all types of photography, and yeah, I learned through a lot of trial and error what really works for me, what really lights my fire, what fills my cup, and there's a lot out there that doesn't. So I am very niched down now and in a happy place with it.
And that all started with your creativity. You said, I just want to be a pug guy.
Yeah.
So that's super similar to my dad, because my dad, he ran his photography company, and they ended up kind of specializing in senior photos. And obviously the money was really good and they were happy, but he was never happy. He wants to just be out in the middle of some nature hike somewhere, just taking pictures of wild animals. He's got some crazy, I mean, if you, we'll talk after, but he's got crazy like shots of these, like, I mean, birds and deer and insects, all these crazy stuff. And that's all he wants to do, is he just wants to go wander in nature, mostly alone, and just take pictures of nature. But unfortunately, that's not where the money was. Maybe there is money there now, but yeah, hopefully he's watching this episode. We'll if not, I'll make sure that he comes and says hi. Awesome, Stefan. Well, that was cool. I'm gonna move on to our next guest. So that was a good amount of time. We'll bring you back out in a little bit. Thank you so much, Stefan.
Yeah, thank you.
And next up, we're gonna bring out Tiffany. So creativity. Don't focus on the money. Just focus on being creative and moving that way, and hopefully the money will come. It did in Stefan's case. Hey, Tiffany, welcome to Millionaires Are Made. How are you doing today?
I'm doing so well. Thank you for having me. This is really cool. I really enjoy that. And I love what Stefan just had to say. As a matter of fact, I don't need to say anything because he nailed it.
And that's a wrap.
Right? Now we're going to one guest. No, I'm just kidding.
Down to one guest. Yeah. Yeah. I wish we had our third guest. That's crazy. We've never had a show without 3 guests. So now you have to talk forever. I'm so sorry.
Bummer.
Tiffany, why don't you tell us who you are?
Yeah. So my name is Tiffany O'Hearn, and I am an energy healing practitioner. I am studying to be an astrologer and just an all around. I just lead with love. That's who I am.
Lead with love. You said energy practitioner?
I'm an energy healing practitioner. That's right. So I help others, I guide others to kind of heal their energies, heal their traumas, their triggers, these decisions that we've made and our subconscious collects and unintentionally inhibits us from creativity.
Oh, well, that sounds like I might need to ask another question here.
Right on.
I wanted to improve my intellectual health with creativity. What tiny piece of information would you give me?
Well, first and foremost, if you're coming to me for that, I'm saying, let's get your energies right. Let's see where your energies lie, because a lot of times our subconscious actually doesn't want to do the things that our ego, our, physical body wants us to do. And I see this all the time in my work where they'll say, no, I totally want to lose weight. Okay. And then we get to your subconscious and the subconscious goes, actually, no. We're not doing that, right? Because we've had all these programs and stuff and we collected over the years. And so a lot of times what we say out loud isn't actually our spiritual body connects with. And why, right? And they're very easy to remove just by doing energy healing. And so a lot of times when we think about creativity, we need to, in my humble opinion, is to explore creativity outside of the box, because creativity isn't in a box and neither are we. So if you think to yourself, right? Am I emotionally in a box, right? I'm so stressed. I can't do this, and you're saying all these negative things to yourself. Your spirit body's going like, yeah, of course you can. Right. And so how do we express ourselves outside of the box? Well, for me, a lot of that comes to some of these energy healing modalities where you can look at yourself truly and say, yeah, I want to do this, right? Like, so in Stefan's case, I want to take pictures of the things that I want to take pictures and I don't care about anything else. And that may be very unique for him. Right. And so somebody else might be listening to this and they say, yeah, I want all those things. But, you know what I mean? Because sometimes our mind isn't as maybe strong or whatever, right? Because we've all experienced different things in our life. And so, when we think about being creative, it's about expressing yourself, in my opinion, from your truest, most authentic space. If you're not connected with your truest, most authentic space, then your creativity surely will show that.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, it can be, tough when you hear from Stefan and you're like, oh, this guy did this. Oh, that guy did that. And it's kind of like, whatever, like I can't do it. And in my circle, we call it the imposter syndrome, where, you think you're not good enough. You think that you can't achieve that. You go, hey, just because he did it, he got lucky, or he did this, it wouldn't work for me. And, it sounds like you're trying to help people push past that a lot. and tell them, you can do pretty much anything. And I know it's cliche, you can do anything you want, whatever, but it's pretty accurate. And I would say that, yeah, getting your energies lined up is probably a good start to that with your spiritual health, which we do episodes on spiritual health as well. Hopefully we'll have you back, Tiffany.
Right on.
So let's go and let's hear about your past. Where on your journey did you learn this advice, Tiffany?
Just through healing. I mean, I knew at a very young age that I was different from others. And so, trials and tribulations throughout my life, my divorce really, I've been divorced for 5 years now. And that really sent me down a path of healing, of being like, well, okay, wait, who was that person? Because you can't blame anybody else. We're not the victims in our own life. And so I just really had to look at myself. And, I really held on to the fact that I'm here to help and serve and to guide others. And so how do I best do that? And it's just constantly being in a state of learning and love, really, and guiding others to do the same. And so I know it works because I've healed so much of myself. Like I've actually done the work on myself, so much so, and I see it. And, I invite anyone else who says, I want to be creative and there's these roadblocks. Well, they're all in your mind. And I say that with so much love and gentleness, right? Because our thoughts are the most powerful thing in the world. And if our thoughts aren't right, can't really do it. Right. And so Stefan, his thoughts were right. His thoughts were so right. This is what I'm doing. But he had to go through a lot of stuff before that too. You know what I mean? Yeah. Our thoughts are so powerful. So if you think you can't do it, you can't. Sorry. Right?
That's very true. Very accurate. I'm sure that he had some difficulty. I mean, I'm sure that we'll bring him on and we'll ask him to his face, but I'm sure
right?
he had some financial issues, moving from creating an entire pug photography niche. It has to be kind of a difficult task. I don't know many other pug photographers out there, but he basically created his own niche, got creative, and now is enjoying it. But yeah, like you said, I'm sure there were times he wanted to quit. I'm sure there's times where he said, I can't do this. There's no way this is going to happen. A pug photographer, this is crazy. I'm not going to do it. And so kudos to him for pushing through.
Yeah. And it, it's very true. If you love what you do, you don't actually work a day in your life. And we can all do that. Anyone listening here, I would like to think that they are on, a different path. And so hopefully, right, this resonates in some capacity, whether me, you, or whomever, right? This show is made for people. So I'm not saying my advice is the best. I'm just saying, look at yourself. That's you want to be more creative. I'm having trouble with that word today. You want to be more creative. You want to be more intellectual in your creativity. You got to go inward.
Go inward. And if you do like Tiffany's tip, reach out to her. We've got her info on the comments, or reach out to us and we'll connect you. But yeah, if you're interested in Tiffany, set her up. All right. Well, Tiffany, that was amazing. Thank you so much. We're going to have some more fun. I'm going to bring Stefan out. Hopefully he's ready. He looks ready.
We were talking behind his back a little.
A little bit. I know. Now we're going to talk to his face.
Right?
I heard every word.
Yeah.
What's up, Stefan? How you doing?
He went to pink, though. He went to pink. So maybe it's good. Pink.
Yes. No, it is very good. Tiffany, I just love that you're an energy healer, because you're my people.
Yeah. You're my people. I love it. So let's delve into that real quick. This may or may not be, I don't know, this might be a tangent, but we only have 2 guests, so screw it. Energy healing. I would say maybe not controversial, but not quite mainstream yet.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that? We'll start with you, Tiffany.
It's one of the most profound modalities of healing I've ever experienced. And it's just as simple, really. It's right. We think about easy and simple. It's so simple. And it's just a matter of, what do I want to do? Do I want to heal? Right. And so it's about taking whatever trauma triggers, programs that you have, and energetically shifting them out of your body through tapping, through thoughts, through, this subconscious thing, your subconscious shifts, right? Because a lot of times it does limit us and we don't actually know it. I see people all the time and I'll say, your subconscious doesn't want that. And they go, no, of course I do. Right. But your subconscious doesn't. It's a whole other level. And so that's really what's holding you back unintentionally. Right. And so, in an hour, if you want to work on something, quit smoking, whatever it may be. I mean, there's no limit to the amount of healing you can offer yourself or invite for yourself with energy healing.
Very true. Very true. All right. Well, you guys both went off on an energy tangent. let's hear what you guys think about my tip. Collaborate with others.
Yeah. So, I mean, I am a huge proponent to that because I find that when you do collaborate, and what you even said it before, like it doesn't have to be like a business partner or whatever. It could just
Yeah.
be a friend. It could be somebody in your family. To bounce an idea off somebody,
Yes.
it causes this thing to happen where you're like, oh, they might give a little interjection of like, oh, well, what if you tried this? And that might spark a new path for you. And it's in it's like it's integrated into everything I do. I whenever I do any type of creative endeavor or have an idea, I always want to bounce it off somebody because sure, you might get lucky and have something in your head and it goes gangbusters, whatever you're doing, and you have a great time. But sometimes just checking in with a friend, be like, hey, I have this idea, this is what I'm going to do. And if they come back and be like, wow, that is a good idea, I never thought about approaching it that way. Or if I had if they might have like a little, well, what if you did it just a little bit different and moved it a little bit like this, and you go, oh wow, I didn't think of that, and now you have this big idea. And yeah, I'm a huge proponent for working with somebody.
Some of my best ideas, my best businesses came from someone else. I may have had the core. I mean, this show was originally I was going to go into a third world country and live there for a year and, try to throw like courses and like retreats and have it free for the locals. And then I was like, I can reach way more people and meet and connect more people if I did it all online. And so then, as I'm talking to people and we're building this idea, it's like, okay, let's do this. Let's have 3 guests, 4 people every week, which was the biggest challenge in the beginning. And now apparently it's back again. But no, it's just sometimes Wi-Fi doesn't happen. And the whole point is we want everyone in the world to be on the show as well as to watch the show, because as Americans, we're typically privileged to have more education just in general. And so little things like this, like, hey, go bounce the idea, or energy healing. Energy healing may not even be a thing in some countries. Like it may not be at that point in their I don't know, journey or whatever. So that's the kind of thing we wanted. And so, this whole idea just kind of started growing and growing until it was like, all right, we're doing 2 episodes every week, find 6 guests, let's have fun and just meet all sorts of tons of people. It's been awesome. It's been great. We've shared so much knowledge and so many tips. And, just watching people like comment and send messages like, oh, we're so inspired, we love all this, it's awesome. And so for both of you, though, definitely want you back on one of our spiritual health episodes, because those are huge. But I did want to say one quick thing about Stefan. When you collaborate or use someone else, you got to make sure you have a good circle, because you can bounce your ideas off a naysayer. If you keep that naysayer in your inner circle, our next episode is actually on core values, which is very important. So if you got someone that's against your core values or always says no, you're never going to get very creative. So you got to make sure that your circle is also a little bit creative and also enhances your creativity. Tiffany, what are your thoughts?
I think that they're, both of you, right on, truly, right? You want to have, it's the power of the mastermind by Napoleon Hill, right? It's the power of the mastermind. When we set our intentions, when we set our thoughts to something, and now we're collaborating with others, now you have the same thought exploding, right? Just like we're doing here. Really, it's just a little mastermind, right? And also, it's also for us as the creative person or whomever to, number one, go to the people that are doing what you do. More often or not, right? Because if they're doing it and they're successful, whoa, right? And the second piece of that is also to always be learning and able to receive information and knowledge, right? Because for me, if I'm like, no, this is the one way I'm doing it and that's it, right? I'm going to limit myself really quickly. If I'm listening to both of you and going like, oh my goodness, wow, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I don't propose to know everything, right? And now I have 2 more people in a network, right? In my network where, I could say, hey, Stefan looks like a really good dude. Let me ask him this question. You know what I mean? And see what he has to say. So it's about creating your network and understanding, who can help you in what instances. You know what I mean? Like night sky photography. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to know more. Stefan's my guy now. Stefan's my guy, right? So you want to go to the people, but you also want to have that learner's mindset and to never, ever lose that. It's one of the most important things that we need to keep in our physical, in our physical space is I'm always learning and I'm always open to learning.
I love that the learner's mindset, the beginner's mindset, always being in that state, because there's never a state that you want to learn more when you're just starting out. It's like, oh, I need to learn everything about it. So it's such a great state to be in.
Agreed.
All right, guys, we're going to move on to my favorite part of the show. Real quick, though, I'm going to have you guys each refresh your tip so we know exactly clearly what your tip is. And then we're going to go on and come up with our daily challenge, which is something that we get challenged. You guys get challenged as well every day, that takes less than 5 minutes, costs $0, and anybody in the world can do it, even if they have a poor Wi-Fi connection, like our third guest. So real quick, Stefan, can you super fast remind us what your tip was?
Yeah, my tip was that everything creative does not need to be monetized.
Everything creative does not need to be monetized. Great. Tiffany, what was your tip?
Heal your energies to, explode that inner creativity. Connect with yourself, connect with your source.
And then my tip, of course, was collaborate with others. And little side note, make sure your others are good too. All right, Stefan, Tiffany. So what do you guys have ideas for the daily challenge to improve your creativity every day?
For me, I do this every day, and there are days that I miss it. But when I remind myself to take 5 minutes to do something for myself, not for others, just for myself, it makes a huge difference. So whether that's make myself a nice cup of coffee, go take a 5-minute walk, go outside, ground, stand in the grass, just something where you can just be present with yourself for 5 minutes. It makes the biggest difference in the world.
One of the first things I do when I wake up on my morning routine is a 5-minute meditation. I call it visualization, but essentially I also do 5 minutes of gratitude. So you can call both of those to myself.
Nice.
Tiffany, what are your thoughts?
I mean, nature, it's the one place that really opens up that creativity. And I think the other piece of that, right, is to notice where you have blockages when your body starts to contract, right? So if it's like, I have to go sit down and do this, when your body starts to contract, be curious about what program you have within you. I have to do this. Oh, that's a program, right? And so get curious about your programs, and you can always tell the difference because you're either going to respond to something or react. Reaction is a trigger, a trauma, or a program. A response means it's cool. Yeah, I got that, right? There's no trigger, there's no trauma. It's just easy, whatever it is. And so that's just a great way to be curious. And the other thing that I think really enhances creativity, because going back to nature, is find 3 flowers every day. You just look at them.
Find 3 flowers every day.
Every day. Find 3 flowers, because I'm in winter, right? I'm in the Northeast. There's still flowers. And I might walk into a doctor's office. I might walk into a healing center, and there are flowers all around. Some gentleman might walk up to you with a Hawaiian shirt. Got it, right? It's got the right.
No flower, just a palm tree, just a palm.
It's close enough, but that helps to enhance our mind's eye to find beautiful things. And what is creativity? It's all about creating beauty.
Creativity is all about creating beauty. Okay, all right, guys. So let's combine and think of one tip that anyone in the world can do. I kind of like finding 3 flowers every day.
Yeah. That is actually a really good one. It's because it's something very, it's so simple. That's
right. It is simple. Stefan will take the pictures of them.
Yes.
Every day you got to find 3 of them. I'm wondering how I'm going to find 3 flowers, but I think
they're gonna appear where
That's right.
where you least expect them. You're going to be like, I'm going to go grab this drink, and you're going to go, oh. Right here.
Right.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be real flower, it just has like paintings count too.
Yeah, because it's just opening up your eyes. It's just about looking further.
All right. I think that's a great challenge. That's a unique one. So find 3 flowers every day. Stefan, you like that?
I like that. I love that, actually.
So I'll be taking pictures and posting them and tagging you guys.
Right on.
All right. I like it. I think that's a great challenge. Oh man. All right, guys. thank you so much. That's going to be a fun one. We're going to have a good time with that. I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to you guys, and I will see y'all later. The show is officially over. Thank you so much for watching Millionaires Are Made. That was a really cool one. Our first episode with only 2 guests. Man, we were so close. We love to open it up so we have guests from all over the world. Unfortunately, one of our guests did not have a strong enough Wi-Fi connection. I believe he was from Nigeria, if I recall. So hopefully we can get him onto a future episode. Again, if you want to be a guest, anyone can be a guest. Everyone's got something to share. Every human on this planet has something that they know that they can tell to help everyone else learn a little bit. Please, please, please sign up. We love having guests, and we want to meet you and get your story out. So sign up at www.millionairesaremade. It's in the comments. And if you have any questions, message us, comment. We are monitoring all the time. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And again, Millionaires Are Made.